Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ice Cold Takes podcast. I'm your host, Joey DeMeglio. New York Rangers are on a West Coast road trip, so not very fun for us fans over here on the East Coast. I'll be honest with you guys. I made it through two periods last night, and then I fell asleep because I didn't like the way the Rangers were playing. And two, I was pretty tired after a day at work. My voice is killing me. My throat is killing me right now. But Phil is back here with us. How's it going, Phil?
What's going on? Share the same sentiments.
Yeah. What's up, Matt? How are you guys in the chat? We're back with another episode of Ice Cold Takes. Second one since returning from hiatus. So the Rangers, they played a few games since our last episode. They played against Columbus, the Red Wings, now the Golden Knights. And then tomorrow they will play against the Colorado Avalanche before they play on Saturday against the Utah Mammoth. First time they'll be playing the Mammoth. Wait, I didn't I didn't get rid of that. First time they'll be playing the Mammoth with their new team name. Phil, you were telling me you don't like the name.
They could have done so much better. So
You
I'm
think
sorry,
you think
but
they could have done better? I kind of like it.
I have a thing, and it's with singular team names. It's just I don't know. The NBA, there's the Magic and the Jazz. I just prefer it to be. There's some. It feels unnatural to have a singular team name as opposed to a plural word. It's a team. It's one of many. I don't know. The Mammoth. Sorry, just screw that. I don't like it.
So were you on board with the Utah Yetis at least when they try to get that name?
I would like that better. I don't know who voted for this. I think it was the public, right?
Yes.
Didn't they do like a fan vote? I believe.
Okay. Yes. But I'm glad that they went with Mammoth over Hockey Club because this is not freaking
Yeah,
soccer. This is not
yeah,
soccer. This is not like FC Barcelona, HC Utah. Like, get out of
yeah,
here with that.
yeah.
Screw off.
We had the
Uh,
Washington football team for like what was that? Even a full season? It's just I rather creativity over nothing. But give me a plural name.
Matt is pointing out that the Yeti, the licensing with the Yeti was the issue. Yes, that is true. But there was also issues with the Mammoth name, I've heard. Um, I don't know about that. I think it's pretty ridiculous. Like, you know what's crazy is they have the Stanley Cup, right? The Stanley Cup, and then they have the Stanley, like the water bottle cup, and there's no copyright problems with that. What the hell is wrong with that? That doesn't make any sense.
I'll have to get one of my old buddies from law school who's a patent attorney on this.
Yeah, that's
Happens to be a
right.
big hockey fan. I'll have to give him. I have to ring him in on that. Although he's an Islanders fan, so maybe we'll leave him out.
Oh,
But
yeah. Maybe leave him out of that. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Anyways, so the Rangers, they played a pretty solid game against the Columbus Blue Jackets on Saturday. Columbus, as far as I'm aware, it was a very, very good 5-on-5 hockey team, and the Rangers pretty much had their way with them for that game. There wasn't a lot of goal scoring, couple mistakes here and there, but I thought they played a pretty solid game. Phil, did you get a chance to check out that game?
I did. I caught the third period, overtime, and the shootout. Um, yeah, obviously when you come away with the win, you feel better, especially considering since the last time we spoke, it's the only win in 3 games. And as I probably mentioned on Saturday more than once, I believe he had the winning goal in the shootout. I love and I enjoy watching Krocek play hockey. I think he mucks it up. He gets in there. He gets possessions. Um, we'll discuss some other members of the team maybe not doing that all entirely often. So it's a refreshing since he's been back to watch him, tempo and set the tone for the squad. And I thought he did. I thought he was exceptional on Saturday. And overall, I thought they looked pretty good. I don't. I'm getting too old and foggy for this. Did they have a power play goal on Saturday?
Yes, that was. I think Cooley tipped it in. Did they?
So as a
I'm fairly certain that was the goal. Um, they took Cooley off off the first power play unit. I thought that was pretty interesting. Uh, no, Zibanejad had the goal. I'm sorry,
they did,
Zibanejad had
yeah.
the goal. It was.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure it was on the power play.
it lends itself to what we discussed. I know I'm referencing last episode for those who didn't watch. It was the Rangers. Since the play's picked up, it's been coordinated with Trocheck and a power play that's finally waking up a little bit. The formula for this team has been the last couple of years. Ice is tilted, 5 by 5, not
Yeah.
on our end, but they've been
Yep.
power play goals have saved the day for the last 2 3 years, and that was kind of the recipe on Saturday: superb goaltending, a power play goal, and when it came down to it, in a shootout, skill and goaltending wins you in those shootouts, and the Rangers have
Yep.
plenty of both.
I agree with you on what you said about Trocheck. I thought he played a really solid game against Columbus. Ever since he's come back in the lineup, he's really been a huge help for the Rangers, and thankfully he's not playing like he was last season. Everyone on the team last season had such a down year. I think he looks a lot more like the first year he was with the Rangers, which is all right. Not horrible, not the greatest, but um Trocheck had a fine game on Saturday. And I remember I was texting you. I'll I haven't seen the Rangers forecheck as much since like the Tortorella AV days. Like I know the team we said last week on paper they're not that good, but it's just nice to see collectively as a team that they're forechecking. Like all four lines are getting in there. Like Zibanejad's mucking it up. Like Panarin even a few times. Like Trocheck, of course, not afraid. Lafreniere's always in there. And then of course you have Cooley and your other guys down there. Laba looks really good, really fast skater. But seeing guys like Zibanejad muck it up, I feel like Zibanejad has already set like a career high in hits. I've never seen him play so physically. This is a good thing, but at the same time, the Rangers can't score any goals. They're getting really unlucky. And then when you have a game like Sunday against Detroit coming off the back to back, man, that was a pretty brutal performance. I don't know if you caught that one, Phil. What did you from what you saw? Even if you just saw highlights, what did you see from that game against Detroit?
I saw drips from drabs. I obviously saw what I'm sure we will talk about is a certain fight that occurred in that game at an end of the period there. Just I don't want to chum it up to tired legs, but we commend the forecheck, we commend effort and puck possession and getting the corners, diving on the boards. On a back to back, you got to dig a little bit deeper. It didn't seem like a whole lot of energy. Granted, I did not watch every second of the hockey game, but from what I can tell, and it happens to the Rangers more often than not. Not even on a back to back. Sometimes it's just there's no will to win. Going through the motions, just skating, and next thing you got to pull the goalie because you're losing. Um, Although they did, again, I don't, I sound look a little ill prepared. You score in one goal against a Red Wings team that isn't exactly a juggernaut. And where was the game played?
Madison Square Garden.
I see that as a problem that we've discussed before. It's just they got to find ways to manufacture goals, and I think that lends to what you just talked about. When the Rangers are winning, they're in on the forecheck. Everybody's hitting. Everybody's getting up, um, and they have an energy level. And the games they lose, you could point to the exact opposite of that, and say the intensity wasn't the same. And that's my opinion. Even though I didn't watch every single second of the game, tends to be a pattern. And this is not just this year. This is the last couple of years. Sometimes, especially last year, it just you want to scream, but your fist through the wall, and we can't want it more than them. And that sometimes seems like what's happening.
I feel Phil, I feel like you're holding back. I feel like there's something more that you wanna add and, like, you wanna rip the team apart, but I feel like you're just
I don't
holding
want to
back.
get the
I don't know.
FCC involved.
That
I don't need to get fined.
dude, you're not gonna get fined. No one's gonna find out here. No. Let it all
I,
go. Let it all go. I'm telling you, no one will care.
it's just more of the same. As you just said, you command when the Rangers win, they look great. Zibanejad's hitting. Lafreniere will give you all he's got. Cooley's up there, and then there are just certain times, and this happened with I can't say it enough over the years. They just somebody has, like, wake up. The game started 10 minutes ago. Uh, it's just out-of-man rushes, turnovers in the neutral zone. That
Experience
was
experience Rangers hockey. Yes. Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
more of the same, um, and it does uh, irk me out to say the least that it's the same issues. And I understand that there's talent deficiencies and people aren't you're not expecting this Zibanejad parent to get in there and hit and you know like a Kachuk and stuff like that. Panarin's more of a finesse player, but we'll get to last night's game. But there are certain plays and certain effort levels that should be a minimum, and when it feels like they're just, for lack of fun, skating by, bothers the hell out of me. And
Yeah.
maybe
I
I totally missed the ball in not watching every second of this, but I feel pretty comfortable in asserting that one goal on home ice to a slightly above average Red Wings team. What happened?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with it. I'm with it. The thing that kind of reaches boiling point was Quick going after the Red Wings at the end of the game. Like that entire third period was spent in the Rangers zone, right? Like you could say like, oh, the Red Wings had so many power plays, the referees weren't good, like they missed so many calls, they gifted the Red Wings so many power plays and opportunities. Sure, the Rangers penalty kill was not good enough though. You know who showed up for that game? Jonathan Quick. He turned the clock back, stood on his freaking head, and was making save after save. And at the end of it all, if he wanted to score a goal if he could possibly cross the red line, he would have done it and scored a goal because he was so pissed off that the team was not showing up. And so I think that's why he ran after Appleton. So the buzzer sounded. It's a 2-1 game. The horn sounds with the goalie pulled. Game's over. And then Appleton flings it on net into the goal. They're celebrating the Red Wings. And then all of a sudden the camera is like pans back to Quick and he's got his helmet off. He charges off the bench, goes straight after Appleton. I've never seen something like that before. Like the goalie's more into it than the Rangers. That's unacceptable. I don't understand that at all. Like the I guess like Quick feels what Lundqvist felt back in the day. Remember when Lundqvist pushed the net over when he was so pissed off that one time? Do you remember that?
Yeah, but the referee wouldn't stop the game, right? Didn't
Yeah,
he?
when the referee wouldn't stop it was that level of rage. It was that level of
You know,
rage. Like, you don't see that from Quick. That guy's an experienced goalie. That's a future Hall of Famer. He's like on his last legs. That's the last person I'd expect to see that from. That's
yeah. I was
nuts.
hoping it would inspire some confidence and you know lift the boys up moving forward to the next game. Doesn't appear that necessarily happened, but somebody's got to fire him up. I feel like that was just like you said, a veteran Hall of Famer, knowing what the locker room might need and what's missing. Fire them the hell up. Can we carry some momentum to the next game, even though it was a loss? They still didn't win, but they need to, BYOE, bring your own energy. And I think I was kind of hoping that was going to occur when JT Miller came in. Fire up the locker room a little bit. There was a little complacency, resting on your laurels for two deep playoff runs in 3 years. And, that lack of fight, like I discussed before, maybe Quick was just trying to ruffle the feathers a little bit. And it's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. You made a good point about like the bring your own energy, right? It's so funny because on Saturday, Sam Carrick fought Matthew Olivier on the Blue Jackets. That guy's one of the toughest dudes in the league. Everyone in the locker room was talking about how inspirational that was for them and how that motivated them and fired them up. Why did that not have the same effect like when Quick did it into the next game against Vegas? You would think that's what would happen. And then you have JT Miller going in post game and ripping himself apart, which he does pretty consistently. Yet you'll see flyby efforts. I'm thinking the guy is hurt because he had an issue during preseason. There's no way the guy's at 100%. And this is like another discussion that we could have. Let's get into this right now. So if it turns out that JT Miller is hurt, why is he playing? What do you think, Phil? Like, do you think like since it's early enough in the season that he should just rest, or like do hockey players need to be tough guys every single second of the day?
Well, that's a great point. I would also say hockey players are some of the toughest athletes in the world. As my favorite sport is basketball, as you can tell, if you clip your fingernail the wrong way at night, probably not going to play in the NBA. You might sit out a week or two. It just hurts, can't blame them. I haven't read much or heard much that he's potentially hurt, but if he is, I'd rather see him sit out 2 weeks and come back 100% than play the rest of the season at 80%, especially at this point in the season. 2 weeks, if they can tread with that. Not that he hasn't bringing it anyway. So if he were to sit out and get healthy, it's not like we're missing, this MVP candidate. They will survive without him for 2 weeks if they have to. You adjust as a hockey team. If I haven't really heard that he's hurt, but if that is the truth, I would say if this could be resolved within 2 to 3 weeks, yes, sit him out. I don't see the reason. One, why risk making it worse? Where if the team is playing well come February and March, something else happens. But I'd rather lose him for 3 weeks now than the rest of the season come February.
I will say his shootout winner against the Blue Jackets was ice cold. The guy had ice in his veins. Like took his time and then just all of a sudden roofs it over the goaltender and makes like barely any reaction to her. He just points towards the bench and that's it. And everyone piles on top of him. Like that's what I want to see. Like put the team on your back and then you'll see there's a clip that kind of went viral from last night's game when Vegas scored. I believe it was their second goal. He just glides. It's like a controller disconnected or something. He's a polar player, JT Miller, because when he's on, he's amazing. He's great to watch. I love rooting for him and stuff like that. It's like he plays on like bath salts or something when he's going. But when he sucks, holy crap, he sucks. He's awful. Like it's one extreme to the other. It's really crazy to watch. Like
I think you used the right word there. He's polarizing, and whether that's a nice way, I'll leave it to this year to say inconsistent. That's a glorified way to probably put that. I mean, for the most part, his play has been down with glimpses of what he can be and what he has been throughout his NHL career, like that shootout winner. But what just troubles me is and as I said earlier, he came in here as this player that will ruffle feathers, fire it up, 110% effort. Where's that? And maybe you're onto something with an injury. Maybe that's what it is. But whether you're scoring or not, you can bring your effort all the time. You can bring 100% energy and fight all the time, points or no points. And that's what JT Miller usually does and has done in his life. He's just not getting it done this year.
Yep. I want to bring up this point Matt made. If he's playing injured, it's Trouba 2.0. Stop playing if you're injured. You're hurting the team. If he is, I don't like how Sullivan isn't forcing him to sit. Yeah, like very reminiscent of like the Kreider or Trouba situation from years prior. Like Kreider last year.
Don't mention the T word.
Trouba?
It was one of my least favorite Rangers of all time.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Welcome to the club here. Now he's doing really well with the Ducks, as is Kreider, and that team is kicking butt. We talked a little bit about it last week, but anyways, this has been like an ongoing theme. I don't think it's just Sullivan. This got to be like in a Rangers internal philosophy. Like, all right, we feel that we're better with an 80% JT Miller than say a 100% Adam Edstrom, right? Like, because they're scratching Edstrom right now. They're putting Parsonen in. Like, nothing against Parson, and I don't think Edstrom has been horrible. I don't think the guy deserves the boot out of the lineup. Yeah, I get it. You wanna give an opportunity to your other depth players, but if you have a guy that's not at 100%, just play your fully healthy guys, especially this early in the season. Like, what happens if Miller suffers like a setback, if he's like writhing in pain or something like that? That's not good. You're gonna need him, especially if he's your 1C. If anything less than 100% is a net negative. We already talked last week about how the Rangers are fighting an uphill battle against these Eastern Conference teams that are stacked from top to bottom with their forward cores. You can't be at that disadvantage with an unhealthy player who's on the wrong side of 30. That's not good. So him being nowhere to be found against the Golden Knights, man, a team. Also, the Golden Knights are not thriving right now. They're a team that's kind of struggling. So to see them come out with not much of an effort, pretty polarizing stuff from the Rangers. You are like how your captain plays, right? Miller is polarizing. When he's good, he's good. Like the way the Rangers played against Columbus, I thought he was fine. He had the shootout winner, but then against like Detroit and Vegas, nowhere to be found. And where were the Rangers? Nowhere to be found except for Quick and the goaltending, right? Helter skelter play from the Rangers. There's times where I feel like, all right, this team can be good. When they win, you said it earlier, Phil. When they win, it's like convincing. Like, yeah, this team can do some damage. But then when they lose, it's pretty like uninspiring. Right? Like kind of feeling like, man, there's no way this team could win more than like 35 games or 40 games, however many. No way. Like it's a 500 club at best. Uh the helter skelter play, I'm tired of it. It's annoying. It's been going
And
on
that's
for
what's
too long. You're right.
maddening.
Right?
You see the glimpses of it. You see what they can do. You see what they can be. And this is across the board in sports generally. Why don't you do that every time you're out there? Get it. Matchups are tough. Opponents are different. You know, feeling banged up day to day, it's not going to be exactly the same. But when you show glimpses of it, what do you have to do to get to that consistent level of production, energy, effort? There's something missing, and it's been that way with the Rangers for a couple of. They've been able to put up numbers regular season wise, point wise, win playoff series, but some nights they'll show glimpses for years of, yeah, they're going to look like the Cup, and then other nights, it's a lottery team, and that, especially last year, went from starting off. I believe last year they started off 6-0
Yes.
or
Five
something
zero
like
and
that
1.
to just bottom fell out. And it was, and the whole season you're thinking, oh man, they're in a slump, but this will turn around. They've showed what they could be. They just, and it never happened. And things have changed, and now it's different personnel, different coaching staff, but some of the same old issues that have plagued them for their existence.
It's really like head scratching how that's the case. Like there's the same issues, but completely different people in charge of the organization. Like, I mean, the only constant is maybe Glenn Sather is because he's sticking around, but I don't know how much involvement he has. We certainly have our theories on this show. The members, contributors to the show have expressed their feelings that Glenn Sather is more involved than people think he is. Like maybe James Dolan is a little too involved. I don't know how true that is, but you're right, Phil. It's literally the same person, same issues, completely different personnel. Rangers have been built on goaltending for so many years. They don't build around goal scoring or like they've tried to build around defense, but like the defense that they try and build around is not good enough. At the very least, I love that they have a true like number one pair now. Fox and Gavrikov. I'm fine with that. I think that's a very solid pair. I think that rivals other teams' top pairs, especially like the cup contending top pairs. I think that's very, very competitive. That's a good thing that the Rangers have there. The rest of the units, I'm really not sure what you're doing there. Like Vakanainen, I don't know what purpose he serves. I'd much rather have Matthew Robertson play over him. Scott Morrow too. That guy's got a future in the NHL. I believe. I don't know how much you've seen from him, Phil, but Morrow looks pretty good so far. And I think a lot of that comes from where he developed with the Hurricanes in that organization. And now he just picks up where he left off, learns a couple new things here with the Rangers. He's got to get some playing time. What are your thoughts on that?
The development of prospects in this organization could probably be an episode on its own. It's been just lacking.
Has been. It's been episodes, yes.
I'm a big Adam Fox guy because fellow Long Island guy. I think he's in my life. I think he might be one of the top 2 or 3 Rangers of my lifetime. Obviously, Lundqvist. I mean, the guy is so talented. Such a brilliant playmaker. I think underrated defensive hockey player. Obviously, he's lauded for what he does offensively as a defensive player, running the power play for the Rangers for the last couple of years. I think he's a great hockey player, and now he's got a top pair. But I think winning hockey, and the Rangers have once again not done this for quite some time, is building out an entire front 6 in front of the goaltender, not just 2 players. And it kind of has plagued them. I was not all Truba and Kendra Miller. I mean, that pair, it should be a crime to pair those 2 on the same line again, as long as they're both in the NHL. I mean, just 2 of my all-time least favorite players in the Rangers to watch. But now I think the Rangers have a top line. They got prospects. Can they finally build out, a core of 6 defensemen to play in front of Igor in his prime? Build a team out from there. See what you got. Morrow, Robertson, names that you've mentioned. Run it. What do you got to lose? I think if they can be part of a core that does play sound defensive hockey, that's how you're going to build to what you want to be.
The Rangers have the goalie and they have a bottom 6. The front 6, not so much. When it's good, but it's too inconsistent. Like, you see it when the Rangers are winning games, the front line guys are scoring, Zibanejad and Panarin. But when those guys aren't scoring, the Rangers can't score at all, period. Like, the Rangers' bottom 6 is more structured on, like, I feel like keep away or like let's hit the crap out of this team. Almost like the 2012 Rangers, but except like those guys, that team was filled top to bottom with bruisers on that squad. Any of those guys could pop a goal in when they needed to. Like this with the Rangers, it's kind of tough. Like, I'm not relying on Connor Sheary to score a goal. Not when he's playing on the top line. To be honest with you, I'd rather Johnny Brodzinski play with Miller and Zibanejad than like Connor Sheary up there. I'm not thrilled with how Sheary's been playing. I know it's like a pretty good story that he's kind of written off last year. I don't think he's that good. Same thing with Taylor Radish. I'm not thrilled with what I've seen from him either.
I think he caught a stray on Saturday's episode too.
Oh yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
But you're not entirely wrong. That could lend itself. I know you have a discussion. My answer for a discussion later might hinge on this, but yeah, I'll reserve comment until a later point.
Yes. So we'll get back to that, but there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about before we get into the ice cold take segment is did you see on Sunday against the Red Wings, the officiating was so bad. Of course, it was Kelly Sutherland, who is the main official in that game. The Rangers just never win any games when Sutherland is on the ice there. Like, I don't know what that guy's deal is. I don't know if it's just a coincidence. Anytime he's officiating a game the Rangers play in, something goes wrong, like there's a bad call and it's like the focal point of the game. There was a really egregious hooking call it was not called. It was actually a holding the stick penalty. I believe it was either on Laba or Cooley, and it kind of changed the momentum of the game. But not only that, Dave Maloney, Dave Maloney is a national treasure, man. Like we got to protect that guy at all costs. He I've been listening to him on the radio for years since I was in like middle school. That guy is a true Ranger through and through. Like from his days in the NHL as captain of the Rangers, it has not been lost on him. That guy is a true Ranger. He let the referees have it. Like he's like, Sutherland, you take so much time to explain the call. Well, explain this one. Stop and get the call right. And then he let out an F bomb when the Red Wings took the lead with like 4 minutes left in the game. There was too many men on the ice. Like right before that rush up the ice that Raymond had where he went behind the net and then scored like NHL 12 style. Um, it was that kind of goal. But Dave Maloney let out an F bomb on TV. He was caught on the hot mic. I didn't even have a problem with it. Screw professionalism. Like I want honest commentary, and that was honest. It was so frustrating watching how the Rangers were playing, just backing themselves into a corner, like turtling the entire game, and then to see all the bad calls go the Red Wings way, and then that last call leading to a goal against that was ridiculous. I don't know if you saw that, but I just thought it was funny to point out.
I saw I saw clips and drabs on Instagram. But and this will probably sound might be an unpopular opinion, but it happens for the Rangers especially. I saw bits and pieces of the game. Could surmise the effort wasn't there. You got to earn calls. If you don't play hard, you force the officials to make calls, and it's on you. Um, if the Rangers played with effort, and put in force the issue and lost on a couple of backbreaking calls, I'd be frustrated. And listen, it is frustrating when you have a win in front of you and you feel like it's taken away on a couple of questionable whistles. But as a Knicks fan, you want foul calls, you get frustrated. As a Rangers fan, you want penalties or earn it. Get out there and show, make them make a call. Or I just don't like when you lose in a way that shows awful effort, you don't even necessarily deserve to blame the officials. And sometimes the rain maybe I'm misdiagnosing the way the Rangers played. As I said, I did not watch every second of it. Would I have been if I was watching it? Would I might have thrown my cup at the wall? Probably. I'll leave a couple of dents on there, especially with Mr. Sutherland there and his colorful past. But you know, I want the Rangers to show a lot of effort, and then at that point, I'll be more comfortable blaming officiating. But I think it's more than just missed calls here and there. Like you lose you lose a basketball game on a last second shot. The game never comes down to the one shot. It doesn't come down to one call by a referee in hockey either. But yeah, it's frustrating. But I think there's a string of things that can be corrected, starting with effort, that would mitigate any referee calls that we could complain about.
I say the same exact thing with the Jets all the time. And that team is notorious for taking stupid penalties. And then they look at the referees like, what did I do? Why are you calling this on me? And I'm like, you're playing like crap for like 75% of the game. Like, of course they're gonna call a penalty. You need to earn those calls. And like when there's not a
Yeah,
penalty called on them, when they're on offense or something like that, and the other team takes a penalty that gets missed, they're complaining. The Jets are complaining. Why didn't you call it? And it's like, all right, well, start trying harder. Like, get in the game.
yeah.
Man, it's
It's
so
true.
frustrating watching the Jets. They're such a terrible football team. Oh my God. I'm never gonna have a good football team.
Yeah. Watch college. I don't know what you got to do. Become a Georgia Bulldogs fan or something if you want to root for winning football. But yeah, I agree. And should referees be dishing calls out based on effort and the name on the back of the jersey and earning calls? No, it should be called how the game should be called, point blank, no matter what. the reality of it is, if you work a little harder and make them make a call or force them to blow the whistle, it could be to your advantage. And the Jets, the Rangers, the Knicks haven't done that in 25 effing years. That's how long I've been alive and haven't seen it. But
We're just gonna leave the Mets out of the
you
conversation.
could force the issue. Yeah, I know. I don't have any alcohol near me right now to get into that, but it's just the truth. And the Rangers, they want to get involved. Yeah, they want to. There's so many reasons why they lose games that have nothing to do with officiating, and let's clean those up and leave it. Let's hope one day the only thing we complain about is officiating because of excellent play and excellent effort. Well, that'll be the day that we're sitting here talking about the Rangers in June. Because once you clean all that up, you're a damn good hockey club.
Yeah. I guess we could talk about the Mets another time when we have a couple brewskis.
Yeah, when I don't have to
'Cause
drive and go to work within the next 24 hours, that'll be the
Because I
day.
could talk forever about how the Mets finalized their coaching staff, and they did not keep their first base coach from last year. How they
And where
managed
did
to
he
screw
go?
that one up is beyond me, especially
And
losing
where did
him to
he?
a rival team. I swear to
There you
God,
go.
this like always happens with the Mets. Like you have a good player, and it's like, oh, it's a no-brainer. We should definitely bring this guy back. And then for some reason, no, we're not bringing him back. Why? I don't know. And it's like, what?
Yeah, now there's
That's
no
what
money
I'm
excuse
saying to
too.
myself.
For years with the Wilpons, is oh well, we can't afford him. That's not an excuse anymore. You should not be outbid for anybody you want, especially who somebody who led you to one of the highest percentage of stolen bases in franchise history in the league. I mean, the Mets at one point, I think they stole 30 something bases in a row without getting caught.
It's
But no,
it's
let's let them
it's
go to Atlanta. That's great.
it's like it was automatic, and I've never seen them throw out base runners either. Unbelievable. And anytime a team ran on the Mets in like 2019 through like 2022, automatic stolen base, especially if it was the Nationals, because that team used to be so fast when they were competitive. It was automatic stolen base. And now it's like if Nito or not Nito, oh my God, Nito, Jesus,
That's a
If Terens is
throwback.
behind the plate, it's an automatic out. Don't run on him. That
He's got and Alvarez has gotten better. I mean, thumb injury
Alvarez too.
aside,
He
the
got
kid's got a cannon.
yeah,
Kid's got a
yeah.
cannon.
The one thing I am happy about, I'm happy they let go of Eric Chavez. Because I thought Francisco Alvarez was great before him, and then once he started working with him, he shit kind of hit the fan, and then he was incredible after he went down to the minors this season, and then he came back up. I thought that was pretty impressive seeing how Alvarez did after that. But overall, glad Eric Chavez is gone. But we will transition to the ice cold take segment. Ladies and gentlemen, the ice cold take is an accurate statement backed by facts and observations that is solid in nature, similar to a block of ice, i.e., a spot on claim. This week, to put a bow on the conversation that we had earlier, is JT Miller cooked? And by that, I mean, is he over the hill? We talked about it last week. We talked a lot about it this week. JT Miller, I feel, is a bit over the hill here. I think there is an injury going on here, but when it comes to how he is in the room, obviously guys are responding to him. I said it earlier. I feel like when he's at his best, it's like he's running through brick walls all over the ice, and he cannot be stopped. I think this is how he is. I don't think he's cooked per se. I just think that this is what we got to deal with. And you know what? It kind of sucks because he's under contract the same length as Zibanejad, and that was another issue. We were trying to get out from under his contract in the offseason. That didn't work out. I don't know where the Rangers go with this. Kind of a lose-lose situation here. You got two expensive centers. One you're playing on the wing. The other one shows up half the time. The other half, he's the best player on the ice, uh, and he's your captain. So, what do you do in this situation, Phil? Enlighten me. What do you think?
So I don't think he's cooked. I don't necessarily think he's over the hill. I think he's just in the wrong position. Is he a 1C, elite 1C in the NHL? Probably not. Has Zibanejad been in, an elite 1C? Probably not. The Rangers are trying to put, you know, a square peg into a round hole for a while. I think, when you go up against other 1Cs, you become exposed. Um, I think, sometimes the inconsistent shuffling of the lines around him and the wingers he plays with, sometimes they put him on the wing and put him with Zibanejad. I think positionally, I think there's a lot of circumstances that could lead. Maybe he's dealing with a little bit of an injury, but I just think lack chemistry. Maybe he should be on a cup winning team. He'd probably be your second line center. I think a combination of those things and people around him also not playing as well as they have in the past are leading to a numbers decline and production decline. But I think, I don't think, what is he, 31, 32? I don't think he's over the hill. I think, you surround him, with a little talent and people that are willing to forecheck and play in similar fashion. I think his numbers would skyrocket again. I think it's a product of his circumstances right now, and I really don't think he's cooked like that. I just don't. I would love to see his production skyrocket with the Rangers. I hate to say you put him on, a second line in Carolina, Colorado, Florida, and watching the all worldly because he's not going up against your McDavids of the world. But that's not the situation. The Rangers haven't had a true 1C in a long time, and they're trying to put these borderline 1C guys, probably second line centers, and they're out of position. And I think that's why you're seeing a little bit of a dip of production. Um, and that's truly what I felt about quite a few Rangers, which I alluded to earlier, that I would continue my train of thought in a later segment. I think it's with
Go ahead here. Go ahead.
Zibanejad, Trocheck, and Miller are all fantastic players. Are any of them 1Cs?
No.
No. But at some point in the last 2 seasons, have each of them been thrust into that? At some point, yeah. So I think that's maybe more of a problem than goes discussed. And when you put one of those three guys against, a Connor McDavid, you're going to see some problems. And I think that's what happened in the Florida series 2 years ago. Barkov locked them down and caused a whole lot of problems. And it was questionable. Obviously, you got frustrated as a fan. You want to see production, but when you look at it, he might be the best defensive center in the league. He did what he's supposed to do. I just think it's a mismatch, and that position has been a mismatch for quite some time now for us.
I think what you said, the first thing you said, like the square peg in a round hole, that is the embodiment of the New York Rangers franchise. Square peg into a round hole. Like, all right, so we don't have a real 1C. So we're going to go with a tandem of Trocheck, Miller, and Zibanejad and pray that one of those guys is good enough to be the 1C. And then the rest can just be depth pieces. Well, now you got like you got two number 2 centers, a winger, and no 1C, right? Then you have like, all right, let's trade for Carson Soucy last season, and I think he would be a perfect complement for Fox. Number one, that's a pretty stupid logic there. I don't know what Drury was thinking doing that. Although Soucy has been okay this season, I'll say. That doesn't make much sense. You keep going back with Miller Trouba as a pair, even though we know it doesn't work. Yeah, we're gonna go with them because they've played together the longest, but it doesn't work. Yeah, but they played together the longest, so that means therefore it works. That logic doesn't make any sense. Same thing with Lindgren and Fox. Okay, it worked together. It worked in the past, but is it working now? No. But we're still gonna do it because they're the most comfortable together. Like that kind of reasoning doesn't make any sense. Let's put Connor Sheary in the top 6. Let's put Barclay Goodrow in the top 6. Why? Because they can. They're multi-skilled. They're Swiss Army knives.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. But should we do it? Yes, absolutely. Let's 100% do it. Even if it costs Othman and Perot ice time, or If it's another guy like Lafreniere, if it costs them ice time, yes, let's still do it. Let's put Connor Sheary in there. Let's put Brodzinski up there to score some goals. We don't have anyone else that we could put up there because we weren't good enough to develop them ourselves. So we're going with bottom of the barrel players in the NHL, putting them in our top 6 and calling it a day. And we're going to roll with that. Blake Wheeler, you could add that to the mix. You could go with that for
Riley Smith.
50 games. Riley Smith, Dryden Hunt. Oh my God. Colin Blackwell. Jeez. The amount of right wingers that they've had in the top 6 that have just been like constantly shuffled out because they couldn't make it work because they traded Buchnevich away is mind-boggling. And the fact that they don't see that as a problem is why the Rangers are in the predicament that they're in right now. They can't get a solid piece right now because they're constantly trying to match these pieces that for sure don't fit there, but they're trying to like force the square peg into the hole. I don't know what they're trying to do, if they're trying to round the edges or if they're trying to like cut corners into the square, into the circle in the piece that they're trying to shove it into. I don't know what they're doing. It's not working. It's very clear. I'm very big into metaphors and analogies on this show, Phil. If you couldn't tell from this little rant that I'm going on right now, it doesn't make any sense what the Rangers are doing when it comes to that. You said before, maybe you surround Miller with some talent, someone that would forecheck. Well, you have it in the system in Brennan Othmann. You don't give him enough go of it. I understand that he hasn't been good when he's played this season. Even in the minors, he's kind of taken a step back. Why is that? Because you waited way too long with him. They over-marinated him, I feel like. Last year was the time for him to play. He was doing well, and they never gave him the opportunity to play. And it always comes back to the same argument. Like, what is it? Should the player have stepped it up and proved that he belongs there? Or should the Rangers have given him more of an opportunity? I think it's more on the Ranger side here. Yeah, Othmann still doesn't have an NHL goal, but he's got the skills that you're looking for there. He's a forechecker. He has skill. He's not some scrub that's played on like every single minor league team in his career that can't score goals. He's a goal scorer. You got to let him play, and you got to bite the bullet. When the Rangers can do that, like for an extended sample, wake me up, because they will never go more than 15 games without a guy, they'll never go more than 15 games giving a guy an opportunity in the top 6, a young player, before they pull the plug and then ultimately replace him with some bottom feeder guy that they think can fit the role, but that actually cannot. That is the single most frustrating thing about the Rangers, is the square peg into a round hole fallacy. That thing does not work. It's so many things that it applies to. Upper management, inside the locker room, on the ice, personnel decisions, everything, the salary cap. It's blows my mind every single time that I talk about it. It's so frustrating.
I can sense your passion. Just quick. I haven't mentioned my favorite top line right winger that they plugged in that I wish we got for more than 3 months was Vladdy Tarasenko. That one, I freaking loved him and his style of play. I wish they were able to maneuver and re-sign him. Didn't work. But that was my favorite guy outside of Buchnevich. 5 years ago, I thought the Vladdy Tarasenko fit there was phenomenal. Unfortunately, it lasted like 25 games.
You could have gone with Tarasenko. You could have gone with Kane. You could have gone with Vetrano. Right? Those guys would have worked out. And then all the reasons why they couldn't keep those guys are because of the square peg into the round hole thing. Like it all circles back to the same thing. They don't have enough cap space. It's always Matt says it's because Drury can't think, but it's not even just Drury. This has gone on for years, more than him. This is with like Sather and Gorton too.
Yeah, a lot of these contracts weren't even on Drury.
Like, you need younger talent. Okay. You're trying to build for the future. You have a guy that's about to hit his prime. What do? Oh, yeah, let's throw JT Miller into this trade. Let's throw JT Miller into this trade. And what do we get back? Fucking Libor Hayek. You don't even get their best guy. You don't even get Sergachev. You don't get Point. That's where it all started going wrong. Like that was a huge mistake. The Rangers had Miller, JT Miller, when he was a young guy that hadn't broken out yet. They traded him, lost him for the entirety of his prime. And now they get him back, and it might be a little too late. That is the most Rangers thing that could ever possibly happen. Ever. This is a franchise that acquired like Pavel Bure, like when he was kind of over the hill, even though he played amazing when in the short stint he was on the Rangers. They acquired Peter Nedved when he was over the hill. They acquired Marcel Dion when he was over the hill. They were lucky enough to let it happen to get the good Mark Messier, have him win the cup. But in the entire 100 years of the Rangers franchise, they always do this where they get the star player, Luc Robitaille, for example, and it's just over the hill. Fortunately, they got it with Panarin, but he disappears in the playoffs, so that doesn't count. They can't get the guy that's in his prime. They can't develop them themselves. They have to go through someone else to do it. Man, that's what frustrates me so much about being a Rangers fan. We can never get the good guys. We can never get Eichel ourselves. We can never make McDavid or Crosby or Ovechkin. We have to buy it from someone else.
You're trading or signing a second tier a la Zibanejad, Trocheck, bringing back Miller because of your lack of ability to develop or get one of those players in their prime. And I think, like you just said, that, it's all tied in together. Either because you have these other pieces, or you're bringing these other pieces because you haven't gotten the grade A plus superstar, and you don't have room for both. And unfortunately, Rangers have either settled or been left or forced to settle for a little bit less than elite. And a little bit less than elite is why they haven't won a cup in 32 years. But
yeah,
neither here nor there.
I'm done ranting. I'm done. I think this is a good place to call this episode. Man, that felt good to get off my chest. This is a lot.
Good. You earned a nice. Go have a beer. I think you need it.
Ooh, that's a good idea, actually. Nice Peroni. Close out the night. 9:24. All right. Well, Ice Cold Takes fans, if you enjoyed this episode and you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you follow us on all of our socials. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys next week. See ya.